Alright guys, Tactical Bit back again today. Hope you're enjoying your Tuesday so far. Today, a number of topics to discuss, the main one of which being that a lot of the teams right now, well, the top 4 teams that have made it to the championship weekend of the Call of Duty World Championships, the only 4 teams to do so, that being Atlanta FaZe, Dallas Empire, Chicago Huntsmen, and the London Royal Ravens. Those are the 4 teams that made it to the top 4. They are having a difficult time scrimming against other teams and getting good practice in. There's only 4 teams remaining. Who are they going to practice against? They're certainly practicing against each other, but they don't really want to practice against the teams that they are more than likely going to play at the upcoming weekend, which to be honest they kind of are. Therefore it opens the door for amateur teams to still scrim some of these professional teams to actually give them decent practice. It has been a discussion about the format here, the fact that Atlanta FaZe, as we'll look at in a second, have basically played one series, so have the Dallas Empire, and now they are straight into the top 3, guaranteed $600,000. Maybe that's too much. You could certainly argue that it is, even though they did of course have a fantastic regular season, and now they have the additional worry of not really having too many teams to scrim because they don't want to give away any like tendencies or tactics, strategies, whatever, in their practice matches against teams that they're going to be playing for, well, millions of dollars for, $3 million plus, still on the line for these remaining top 4 teams. Like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, this from Sip, good to see us back. So Abizi, Arcides, Pristini, and Clayster, all 5 of the E United squad that won champs last year has made it. So if any one of the teams win that's not, London Royal Ravens, then we will have a reigning back-to-back Call of Duty World Champion. Pretty remarkable stuff to think how good that team has been, well, was at the time, and continues to be to this very day, the players on the squad. As Abizi then says, wish I could just fast forward to next weekend already. A break is just not it after only playing one match. And that opens the door for other teams to want to scrim these guys because, well, who are FaZe going to scrim? They can't scrim against the Dallas Empire because they're playing them first match end up. I guess they play against London, they play against Chicago, but even then, like, it's pretty likely that one of those matches ends up happening at the World Championship. You may say it's okay, maybe it's not the biggest deal, but, you know, at the end of the day, people still want to practice search and destroy and stuff, and, you know, you're definitely not going to play search and destroy probably scrims against any of these top 4 teams. Therefore, as I say, there's a possibility for amateur teams to jump into the mix. This then from Parasite, with the 2020 season ending, I'd like to announce I'm a free agent for the CDL 2021. Certainly a question as to whether he'll actually get a spot next season. You know, certainly I think he's a better player than some of the players in the league, but the question always is with Parasite about bridges burnt and, you know, whether actually good pro players want to play with him due to his name and reputation. But of course, he certainly does have a good reputation of mentoring young and future stars, as he describes in this tweet right here. We then get this from Parasite then, scrimming Modern Warfare this week to help some of the Final 4 get reps in before the championship weekend. The CCOT cycle continues, and as he then says back to this, I'm getting paid for every series, but, you know, I play, but still, like, not ideal, like, I still have to play Modern Warfare, but still getting paid, and, you know, getting good practice for some of the younger guys, not saying Parasite, of course, but some of the other guys that seem to be scrimming against some of the top teams. As Easy Max says right here, one more week of grind Modern Warfare for champs. Can't wait for Saturday. These guys are go-to for coming back to Modern Warfare to grind too. Cheers, bro. So you've got a Parasite's team here, Exotic, Goonjar, Noisy, and Fire. Some other teams as well that he mentions here, Royalty Squad as well, still on Modern Warfare scrimming the top teams. Question is really how much are these guys getting paid for this? Because, you know, I wouldn't want to go back and play Modern Warfare unless I was getting paid a significant chunk of change. Then again, you've got to consider that a lot of these guys getting this top practice in against some of the best teams can actually be pretty valuable, not only for Modern Warfare, but also for future games. I mean, getting your name out there as someone who's like willing to go out of their way in a sense to help out some of the top teams is always going to be helpful if you want to get picked up to one of these teams in the future, right? And get your name out there in the pro scene. And if you destroy them in scrims or something, then all of a sudden they have your name in the back of the mind when maybe they're considering who do they pick up even 2 or 3 seasons down the line if these guys continue playing. So there are additional benefits to doing this, not just the monetary reward that, you know, could be incentivizing them. How much that is not exactly well known. We get this from Shocking here. One of the AM teams playing FaZe is getting $60 base, then $20 per map win out of the maps they play. So it doesn't seem like a lot of money over 5 players, but you know, as Funlord says, $60 a map, that's $12 per player. I can't imagine that being a real number. So Creeping Death does some calculations here on exactly, you know, how much money that would be. But if this is just $60 base for the entire scrim series, then it's basically like $12, you know, per the entire scrim series, and then they get another, like, what, $5, $4 each if they win a map or for every individual map they play. Who knows if this is like the real numbers or there's something else going on here. You know, maybe I thought it'd be a little bit more than this, but at the same time, as I say, there's so many other additional benefits, I suppose, to scrimming these top teams. In theory, like, you get to learn more about how exactly they play the game and all this kind of stuff. You know, that's not necessarily going to be important just for Modern Warfare, given that the season is basically over. So with all that being considered, it's a pretty good thing to do anyway, and a chunk of change in the back pocket isn't too bad as well. Maybe for Parasite and something with a bit of higher reputation, maybe he's getting paid even more. Who knows exactly exactly what the situation is. We then get this as well. So Clayster says, woohoo, excited to get these scrims going on 12 hertz. So I'm saying that, well, supposedly the 60 hertz servers, for some reason, I'm not sure, like, I'm pretty sure they used to scrim on 60 hertz. We have talked about this issue a number of times where supposedly the 60 hertz dedicated server private matches, effectively the pros can play on the GB servers when they play their scrims. Supposedly those are spawns in, like, some of the respawns have been different in some significant way to what they are on the 12 hertz servers. However, in the actual professional matches that are played on 60 hertz, they are played on the 12 hertz spawns in private matches. Bit of chaos, but supposedly the GB servers have different spawns on 60 hertz than the 60 hertz actual matches that they play on in the tournaments. Not sure how that even happens, but it is a continuing ongoing discussion and has been, well, mentioned a number of times throughout the season. Of course, as Clayster says, these scrims are going on 12 hertz, and maybe there's some sort of issue with those 60 hertz servers or exactly what's going on. Scraps is like, yeah, you know, fantastic. Honestly, I'm beyond stoked to scrim for 5 more days. Let's get it, bro. And as Waskin says, 4 scrims into a map versus Dallas. Let's just refresh this one because that's not appearing very nicely. And no BS, I have one of the worst migraines I've ever had because of flash grenades. I also run Trophy Bear in mind. So, you know, as you can see, this isn't ideal, but, well, we can see they're scrimming against Dallas. And as Scraps says a similar thing here, who can spot it? So this is from their scrim against Dallas. What you'll find here is he beams Hook across the map. And I was like, yeah, what is going on in this clip, right? However, the thing that he's pointing out here is pretty interesting. It's effectively that through this wall here on the right-hand side, you can see player names. And this is basically impossible to spot on Scraps' stream, like on Scraps' screen here. Like, the PS4 capture gallery isn't great. Then you upload it to Twitter and it, you know, brings the quality down even further. You know, certainly not the best looking footage I've ever seen from Scraps' Twitter account right here. But what he's trying to get at is through this wall, you can see someone flanking through Spiral. He does do a video trying to point it out here. And like, I don't know why he did it sideways as well. Like, I had my head on a swivel. I think I just managed to catch a glimpse one time of the red name that he was talking about here, but I'm not even sure if it was just my eyes playing tricks on me, to be honest. That's what he's trying to get at. I'll play a couple of clips of, well, this video on screen, and then we'll talk about what Patty P says actually is going on.
Watch here now, yeah, it's about here, watch. You see the name like here, watch. See it then? Literally like right there. So keep watching that bit there, like literally watching. It's hard because you can't slow it down on the PS. But yeah, watch this. Oh my god, I don't even know how I've seen that. You see that? In the monitor.
So as he replies to this one, that your video is horrible, but this happened in League Play to me just a few weeks ago. Luckily, I still had the pics, same spots. So yeah, as you can see right here on the screen, through this wall, you can see red names. And the red name supposedly is from someone hugging against this P3 kind of, you know, courtyard area. Now, so supposedly this is what Scraps is getting at, the fact that he could see someone flanking through Spiral because their red name appeared through the wall. I haven't seen this before, but, you know, here it is. Right, that's pretty remarkable. This is what Scraps is getting at, that he could see the guy flanking Spiral because he could see the name through this wall, which, you know, just another issue with Modern Warfare. Speaking of issues within Modern Warfare, they have just supposedly fixed the domination kill cam glitch. This has been talked about a while ago. Fixed for an issue, I'm sorry this isn't all on screen, but where partially watching the kill cam and then skipping it can sometimes result in a reduced respawn time. So that's what we were talking about this past weekend with this cheating accusation, Slack saying that Zed and the Paris Legion guys were using this, where supposedly you watch part of your kill cam and then you skip it, and that enables you to spawn in much quicker than you would typically be able to. The incredible thing is, this has been in the game for a couple of months now. I mean, certainly I think this has been around for a number of months. I know that a while ago it was discovered that if you just don't skip your kill cam at all, then it's quicker, but apparently people discovered over the last month or so, or not too long ago, that if you then watch part of your kill cam and then skip it, you can spawn in even quicker in domination. How this is a thing, I don't even understand. That surely there's a respawn delay for a reason, right? But easy to get around apparently. And now they come out and fix it just before the championship weekend, but after the matches of the playoffs are over, and after some of those matches may have been determined by something like this, who knows, because it does make some significant difference. There is of course also a discussion to be had. Okay, some of the matches that played this last weekend had this domination glitch in, you know, not like you're going to replay the entire weekend of course, but certainly there could be a discussion surrounding those first few matches that had the lag outs. I mean, like especially the London versus Toronto one, there was an argument to be said that, okay, maybe you actually earlier in the weekend, of course not going to happen now. London made it through regardless through the losers bracket, beating Toronto in the end. But you could say that given they then pre-recorded the games from Friday onwards, you could argue that maybe they should have done that for London versus Toronto and actually replayed the series anyway, in a pre-recorded fashion and then made it live once again. Just because if you're going to completely change how the entire thing is played, like maybe it makes it fair to the teams that had issues like Zero lacking out, for example, in that series, to then go back, of course, and look back on that series and actually replay it in a pre-recorded environment. Didn't happen like that. I can understand them wanting to stick to the schedule, but it's something that could have been considered. Then again, though, if you do that for the London versus Toronto series, then you're kind of forced to do it, I suppose, for all the other series, because then, Proto was talking about in the Paris series that they had, like, he was lagging, maybe getting kicked off or whatever the case happened to be. So, maybe that's not something that's achievable, but, once again, I thought this was pretty entertaining from credit to Intel, showing that Infinity Ward fixed something, but, right before the very final weekend of the season, after many a team may have been abusing this over the weekend, as we talked about, and had some beneficial results as a result of it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.